I'm going to do some baking. Doing a lot of baking lately, but the trouble is, it all keeps getting eaten too quick, and I've run out of cookies again, biscuits. So I'm going to make some nice vanilla and orange milk cookies that come from Greece. Well, they originally come from Greece. Obviously, don't come from Greece here. I'm not in Greece enough. These are Koulourakia, and we're going to be making quite a lot. So hopefully, I won't run out so soon. So I've got my stand mixer. Make life a lot easier. Okay. If you wanted to try and do this by hand, I suppose you could, but I wouldn't. And you're going to want some plain flour. You want 1 kilo of that, 250 grams of butter that's nice and soft, 100 grams of margarine, again nice and soft, 400 grams of sugar, 3 large eggs, plus you'll need another egg just to do an egg wash at the end, 65 grams of milk powder, 130 mils of actual fresh milk, again let that warm up, 1/2 tablespoons of vanilla extract, 1 whole orange. We're going to just take the zest from that, we're not having the juice. I've already told you a kilo of baking powder, of plain flour, and then we want a tablespoon and a half, no sorry, 2 tablespoons. If you could get ammonia powder, baker's ammonia powder, you want 1.5 tablespoons. But I don't know if you can get that in the UK. I certainly can't find it. So instead you can use 2 tablespoons of baking powder. And then, like I said, just that 1 extra egg at the end. Now we don't need the oven on yet, because yet again, we're going to make this dough up and it needs to chill for 30 minutes. So let's get making our Koulourakia. Into my mixing bowl, I'm going to put the sugar. You can use granulated, I'm using caster. I don't tend to have much granulated in the house, but you can use either. The butter, in that it goes. Like I say, nice and soft just to make it easy for mixing it all in. And the margarine. And then we're just going to put on our standard beater. And we're just then going to beat that, as it were, for about 8 minutes till it's all blended in and nice and light and fluffy. That's got that all nice and pale and fluffy. I'm just going to scrape down, make sure you can feel a little bit gritty at the bottom. But we're now going to add the eggs. There I've broken 3 of the eggs already into the bowl, or into a bowl rather, and we're going to put them in there. And now I'm just going to incorporate them in. So not too much of a mix, we just want to get them eggs incorporated, and we might need to do another little scrape down. So that's the eggs just sort of mixed in, and what we're now going to add to that is the vanilla essence, and I'm now just going to zest this entire orange directly into the bowl. Do it directly into the bowl first, rather than doing it first into a separate container, because as you zest you'll get the oils coming out, and that's the flavour, and we want that in there. If you do it in a bowl, we're going to lose some of that. So I'm just going to get that zested. So I'm now just going to shove that on medium and beat that, beat that until that's all incorporated. That's had a bit of a whipping up. So in this bowl where I've got my milk, I'm going to put in the baking powder. And then, like I say, if you had it baker's ammonia powder instead, and we're just going to sort of try and get that to dissolve in. Ammonia powder would be easier to dissolve. Want to get that mixed in, and then when you've done it the best you can, we're now going to add in that milk powder and mix that, and it should obviously thicken up and be almost like cream consistency. And then you can see that bubbling up. Once I've got that all mixed together, we're going to chuck that in there, and again we're just going to, looks like cottage cheese, isn't it? We're then just going to blend all that in there. Again, shove it onto medium, and just make sure, if necessary, you scrape them. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to add some of that flour, and we're then just going to beat that again on a medium, just to get that initial amount of flour incorporated. And then we're going to switch to the dough hook. So that's all the flour blended in. So what we're now going to do is continue on low with that dough hook for 10 minutes, just sort of essentially kneading that biscuit dough. Okay, so we'll leave that for 10. So that has now come together in a nice cohesive dough. Interesting, as it sort of the kneading process or whatever went on, it actually started to get darker in colour. But not quite sure why that is. You can see the flecks of the orange zest in there. You can see literally it's gone from a bit more like a quite a dry cake dough to quite a stiff quite a stiff, smooth looking dough. So what we're going to do at this stage is it's now going to have like a chilling stage. So I'm going to turn it out onto that cling film. I think I'm probably going to need another sheet. We're just going to wrap that, and it's going to go in the fridge for 30 minutes. At the end of that 30 minutes, we'll start shaping the cookies. But given the time it's going to take to do that, we'll put the oven on at that stage. But we're going to be baking them in obviously a preheated oven at 180 degrees C for about 20 minutes until they're nice and golden brown. But I'll show you that when we come shape them all anyway. It's time to shape our cookies. So I'm taking, I've pre-rolled some balls there already. So I'm trying to describe what size they are. It's smaller than the golf ball. Ping pong ball perhaps. Anyway, you can make a variety of shapes. Generally most of them consist of rolling it out into like a sausage, and then what you can do is fold it in half, as it were, and create like a little plait. Or you can roll it into a sausage and then just coil it up and make a little coil. Whoops. Or you can take one and you can roll it into a little bit of a sausage, not quite so long, and just squash it into like a little S shape. So there should be enough here to make about 70. Okay, now I know, like I said, that's a lot of cookies, but these things do get eaten quite quick. So I'm just going to go and get my trays here filled, and then we'll give it an egg wash and we'll put it in the oven. So remember, you need to put your oven on. I've just put mine on. We want it at 180 fan. I've put the rest of the dough back into the fridge just to chill, keep it chilling while we cook these. I've got some more trays, but I can only really properly get 2 trays in my oven at a time, so I might as well just cook them in batches. So like I say, all we're going to do is we're just now going to give them a light egg wash. Oops, excuse me, warm in here again, a bit stormy today. Okay, you have to watch it a little bit because the egg wash might try and pull in some of the grooves, particularly on the spiral. So I'm just going to do them, whack them in the oven, like I say, for about 20 minutes. We'll check on them after about 15, and then we'll bring them out, put them on a cooling rack, and then we can get the rest baked, and then we can do a little tasting. Here is, we've got just a few still cooling down, but here is part of the batch. Like I said, it makes a lot of cookies. I haven't counted them, but he's getting on for 70 here of Koulourakia. So these Greek milk cookies flavoured with vanilla and orange. So they are biscuity, got a bit of a crunch to them. You get the orange flavour, but it's subtle. Quite plain. I was wondering whether a little bit of a sprinkling of sugar, but they are quite sweet. Well, I say quite sweet, they're sweet, but not that sweet. Pleasant enough. So, Koulourakia, Koulourakia, Greek milk cookies.